tonight. Frances is a poet who belongs to Merton Poets. I've known her for many years. She used to come to our shows as a member of the audience, and one of our performers was Irene Thomas, Dylan Thomas's daughter, and Frances and Irene were friends, and Irene introduced me to Frances. So Frances and Irene were in a women's writers' workshop for many years, which has produced some books, which are on sale here tonight. A Ring of Words, proceeds of which go to multiple sclerosis, and A Way with Words, which is also on sale. And those books include other women writers as well. She is a great poet in her own right, and I'm really pleased that she's here tonight. So please give a big Dodo Modern Poets welcome to Frances White.
Hello?
Hello. Do you want it slid forward a bit more on the boat?
Thank you.
Thank you, volunteer roadie. You've got the job.
Very much. Yes. Is that better? Yes. Thank you.
Yes,
Hello, it's always good to read with the Dodos, especially tonight on this 25th anniversary. So congratulations, Patrick, on being the inspirational founder and force behind so many lively poetry evenings. As we've been enjoying a hot summer, I'll take that as my cue to begin with a sultry poem written in France during the heat wave of 2003. It's called August in Brittany. Midday, piercing blue sky, hay bales scattered, not a breath of air. Apples swell, birds scarcely sing. Pain's pear-shaped clench ripens and rips the gut of summer. Sun's glare penetrates the darkest recess, leaving no doubt of its intent to ignite the orchard. Midnight, deep and blue, stars spin round a harvest moon. Inky shadows fall under the fruit trees. Cicada crescendo splits the warm air. Cider song rises from scented branches above the sleeping, hay-baked, radiant earth. Now for another summer poem, this time about my childhood holidays in South Wales, where my family rode horses from a hill farm high above the Rhondda Valley. The Welsh name of the farm was Llwynperdyd Farm. Trusted with the farmer's new ponies, ungroomed and half-broken, my brother and I trembled at their white eyes, rolling as the heavy slap of saddle and clink of bridle sealed our fate. Bareheaded, only the whack of a leaf-stripped fern for mastery, we were released from the farmyard, clattering on stony lanes up through the pine forest to a long range on the mountain top. There, in a wind-whipped frenzy, the roan and the grey sidestepped and pranced till we gave rein, and raced for miles on that boundless horizon of grass and sky. Hooves thundering, rhythmic, concentrated, legs invisible, stretching into flight. Wild and free, above valley and pit, might, mane and tail disappearing like meteors over Rhondda. Well, those were the days of youthful energy, and now I'm older and out of practice, horse riding is definitely more of a challenge, as you'll see in this poem called The Ride. How often have I longed to ride once more on horseback, far beyond these gates, singing a wild song, your heart beats my only bond. I take the reins again, remembering the coarse tug of your mane, riding slowly down the lane, now the years have staked their claim. We pass the dry stone walls and empty barn, once filled with summer's haul, fresh bedding for your stable, hay for cattle in the stall. I guide you gently round some fallen logs we'd have cleared in one bound, hooves so light above the ground I still hear their vibrant sound. You turn your head sideways to look at me, as if to read my face, sensing how I'd love to race, settling for an easy pace. Legs heavy with the strain, today I ride steadily through the pain, letting my tired limbs reclaim the warmth coursing through your veins. As Patrick mentioned, I was first introduced to him and the Dodos through our mutual friend Irene Thomas, and she was daughter of Welsh poet Dylan Thomas and a poet in her own right. And it was she who taught and encouraged me to write my early poems about Wales, and she often performed with the Dodo poets. And had she survived, she would have been joining in the fun and reading here tonight. And we're very close to the 5th anniversary of Iromi's death from leukemia. So I want to pay tribute with a poem I wrote during one of her more critical spells in hospital. It's called Poetry Gives Way to Prayer, for Iromi. Your spirit wrestles with the air. Lifeblood drains fast in dead of night, and poetry gives way to prayer. Wage battle in intensive care. Machines and tubes invade your plight. Your spirit wrestles with the air, as fragile flesh fails unaware. Words have no say, eyes have no sight, and poetry gives way to prayer. Whatever injuries you bear, the craft of words is your delight. Your spirit wrestles with the air, survivor of a legend's glare. Recall your voice and clear insight, as poetry gives way to prayer. The estuary is waiting there. Wrench back the tide, bring back the light. Your spirit wrestles with the air, and poetry gives way to prayer. From May to August, swifts fly above my garden, and they tend to be very noisy visitors, but they're almost entirely airborne and they never touch the ground, which I feel gives them a spiritual dimension. So I've written a poem called Swiftscape. Swifts dive and screech, flying low behind the trees, catching gnats in the warm air. Only a wisp of moon, an innuendo in the clear blue sky as their silhouettes rise and swoop. They dart away down streets like rowdy bikers revelling in each twist and turn, to reappear screaming on scimitar wings, cutting black arcs across the sky. As swifts outfly the shadows, jasmine fills the air. A blackbird sings, safe in the cherry tree. Hushed, they wheel and spiral higher, gliding sky skaters tracing patterns round the moon. I gaze until their soaring shapes merge into the soft midsummer night, and darkness breaks the spell. On this more spiritual note, I'd like to share with you my interest in Thomas Traherne, a 17th century English poet, theologian and clergyman. He was born in Hereford during the English Civil War, and he became vicar of Credenhill, a village in Herefordshire. And later he was appointed as a chaplain in Teddington, where he died aged 38. His body is interred beneath Teddington Church, the parish church very near my home. His poems explore the glory of creation, and they convey an ardent, almost childlike love of God. For over 200 years he was forgotten, and his manuscripts were lost until the late 19th century, when 2 documents were discovered on a London second-hand book barrow. And I wrote the following poem in the style and spirit of Thomas Traherne. Not very fashionable today. It's called Ascension in Teddington Churchyard. Holly, box and yew tree shine, where arching beech and spire of pine thrust strong roots beneath a sea of bluebells and forget-me-nots. Gravestones tilt with faded names, concealed by lichen, worn by rain. They know the dead aren't really gone. All earthly things will rise again. This unlocked place is quiet and near, an Eden where God's gifts appear so lavish, wonderful and strange. The very birds sing praises here. As bonfires smoulder and refine nature's wealth to smoke and ashes, sunlight darts between the leaves. I see you risen, shining, free. And this churchyard is a stone's throw from Teddington Lock, where on hot summer days young boys dare each other to jump from the suspension footbridge into the Thames, a tempting but dangerous activity which is duplicated all over the country, as in my next poem. The lake. Trousers rolled up, his knees quake by the waterside. He drowns the words he's always heard. Don't go too near, keep away from the edge. Pool black, his eyes tell he's ready to dive. Matchstick arms fly out in an arrowhead. The waters enclose him. There's silence. Then splashing and whoops of boy as he climbs out on the other side, ribs rippling, hair sleek as otter pelt. My penultimate poem is about two of my sons who liked to fish in quiet and remote places when they were very young. It's called Anglers. At crack of dawn, the boys wake me to drive them to the lake, eager to secure their fishing peg. Trolley loaded with rods and reels, they head off, tousled and hopeful. I follow the whiff of bait through blankets of mist under the chestnut trees. They want me to go now, leave them be in the light rain, erecting their bivvy. I scan the lake, listen for birdsong. Water lilies still closed. A grey heron stalks the edge, watching for prey. The piece is far too quiet. Boys' voices, the only chorus. As morning untangles from night, a tall shape in waterproofs appears on the far side, fixing his line with a lurid fly, fancy as a sweet wrapper. I stay my distance, rooted under the willows, waiting for more evidence of day. Finally, I'm going to take you for a walk up Box Hill in Surrey on the last weekend of August. Thank you for listening. August Bank Holiday. We walk into the valley down steep steps cut in the hillside to a soft chalk path, just the two of us, still together, as flowers hum with bees, grasshoppers sing, sheep bleat on the far slope. We climb through shady woods to the top of Box Hill, hot in our jeans, wishing we'd worn shorts, and flop in a heap on the grass with others lazing round the viewpoint. Couples and families sprawl on rugs in the sun, reading and dozing. A kite, a tent, a ball or two, bikes strewn here and there, boys and dogs skittering about. Shirt sleeves rolled up, a man points beyond the hills, his voice muffled in the murmur of this good to be alive end of August holiday. Below us, quiet threads of road and railway, neat vineyard rows, hives in a golden field, a stately house white in its green grounds, cricket pitch rolled, distant cemetery. We move on, as birds dip into dark hedgerows, rosehip and yewberry, reminding us how sunny evenings will close in, wrapping us up again, ready for Christmas.